Hello everyone, my name is Sage Bonebrake and welcome to my presentation on leadership style for COM 250. Before we get started, I want to introduce myself a little bit. I am currently a sophomore at ASU Online, pursuing my bachelor's in communications, as well as a minor in music. I've been employed at Starbucks for about 3 years now, as well as having been a shift supervisor for about 1. Outside of work and school, I love to sing. I love anything theater related. I have directed as well as been in multiple musicals. I love to travel. My goal is to travel the world one day. And I absolutely adore hiking. Now, back to leadership. Upon taking the leadership assessment, I received the results of being a democratic leader. Democratic leadership is also called shared leadership or participative leadership, and it encourages team members to participate in decision-making by sharing their opinions. Creativity is encouraged as well as rewarded. Ultimately, the leader does have the final say, but group members are encouraged to give ideas and input. In these organizations, there's often higher productivity, strong contributions from the group, and overall, there is better morale reported. I have to say, upon receiving these results, I was not surprised. They felt very accurate to who I know I am as a person. I am a very goal-oriented and group-centered leader. And over the past year, as I've progressed in my role, I can see that clearly looking back. I like to lead my team at work with the team in mind, getting their input, getting their ideas, and doing the best I can to please them, as well as get what we need to get done. In my mind, everything works best when everyone works together and everyone has a say. Even if you don't decide to go with the group's decision, they feel heard and they oftentimes will respond better because they know that their opinions were received. Linking democratic leadership back to supervisor-subordinate communication, there were many areas of research done for average supervisor communication style. One of these is openness to communication. Democratic leadership is centered around communication with subordinates, as well as a willingness to listen to those subordinates. Another area is effective versus ineffective supervisors. Democratic leaders generally want to communicate more with their team, which, according to the research, does make them more effective as a supervisor. As someone who used to have multiple supervisors in this job, I can clearly see the difference between those who valued my opinion and asked it, as well as those who did not. And I can see the response from the team and how they responded to the different forms of leadership. For example, deciding how best to accomplish a store or organizational goal. This could be deciding where to move an appliance so everything runs smoother, or it could be as small as asking someone when they want their break. Now, of course, with any type of leadership, there are potential barriers. For democratic leadership, there are a few that come to mind right away, such as overwhelm. Leaders can get easily overwhelmed when a consensus is needed. Leaders find this style of leadership taking more time and effort, especially when there is a potential deadline or time limit. This also leads to faltered performance. Some subordinates may not want to be a part of making decisions. Some employees or subordinates are less able to perform under democratic leadership because they don't like making decisions or they don't care enough to make the decisions. They might also have the impression that they work harder than the leader. The last one I wanted to discuss is groupthink. Oftentimes, subordinates will decide to simply conform with the generally held census view than to engage in critical thinking, which can get the group as well as the supervisor stuck in this loop where there is no productive decision made and the outcome may not be favorable. In conclusion, democratic leadership can lead to more ideas as well as higher subordinate satisfaction. But on the other hand, it can also lead to poor or lengthy decision-making and even potential security issues if people in the group do not share this view. This leadership style is dependent on team member participation, so making sure that everyone feels comfortable with the process is key. Effective democratic leaders communicate with their subordinates and are open-minded with whatever they have to share. As a democratic leader, as I found out, I can see, looking back, that it is a continuous process and you must always have the mentality that there is more to learn. I continue to learn every day from my peers and my subordinates, and they help me to decide if my approach is the right approach. Although the democratic leadership style can benefit a team in many ways, sometimes it's not always the right approach for a team or a project. It's best to take time to decide if it is, but should you decide that democratic leadership is the correct approach, remember, communication is key, and people will feel heard even if their decisions are not the final decision. Thank you.